Welcome to Bass is Beautiful. My name is MD. Today I wanted to give a video response to Eddy at Eddy's Cardboard Chaos. He is asking for a VR for the milestone of 7 years on YouTube. 7 years of making card-related content for fans and collectors like us, and that's awesome. I appreciate the longevity, appreciate the effort. Of course, I took a hiatus. I know how long, I know how much it can just kind of get to you after a while, the ups and downs of, you know, making content. Sometimes if you don't feel like you're as much of a vocal or a verbal presence, it can take some emotional strain to actually even get behind a camera and record something. But so to get to 7 years and to make the kinds of stuff that he's been making, and just the consistency of putting that stuff online, putting yourself out there in that way, that's commendable. And I love his theme for the VR of talking about other people across the YouTube sports card hobby, talking about who you like and why. And because of that, that's why I wanted to jump in and participate in this. I don't even remember if he's offering a prize or a drawing or something. If he is, awesome. But really, I just want to take some time to highlight one of my favorite channels on all of YouTube, and it's TJ Maxx Vintage Cards and Nostalgia. Terry does an amazing job with his channel. The kinds of videos that he posts are meaningful and interesting and dynamic and soothing. I mean, they're just, it really lives up to that name of the nostalgia part of his name. Terry, he produces quality videos, but you can tell that he loves quality cards. He has really high-grade copies of stuff in his collection. But for Terry, it's not about talking about the quality of the cards. He's not going to sit there and talk about how well-centered certain cards are or anything. I don't think he bemoans people who do that, but that's not his focus. What he wants with these cards is to try and get back to the time in which they were released. And that's why I have magazines sitting here in honor of Terry, because Terry also collects magazines. And what I didn't realize until Terry, one day I went to a bunch of antique stores because I was looking for some specific eras of magazines, specifically 1982 and 83, the time period around in which I was born in 83, but 82 is a very interesting year to me, sports-wise. And so I've been more on the lookout and thinking about magazines and just the ways in which magazines just immediately take you back to an era. The advertisements, the writing, the photographs, the things that you'll see in the photographs. This is just an old Sports Illustrated from February of 1982. But, you're just right away, you're transported back to where a time when men wore pants like this when they played golf. And Jack Nicklaus just, it's just awesome. Oh man, cigarettes, cigars, the Celtics. What can you say? Terry, you opened my world to including magazines as part of my collection focus, because I realized Terry and I share a similar interest in that one of the things that we're trying to do with our collections is to get back to that era, to get back to that specific year and the different little nuances and things that were happening at that point in time with music and television and photography and sports and just, the look and feel of it all. And of course, like, we were young, or even in this case, I wasn't even born yet. And in a lot of Terry's stuff, if he's dealing with the 70s, like, I didn't live through the 70s, but, you inherited that. you inherited those styles, the looks, the aesthetics, and so those became part of the backdrop in which we were growing up and were formed. And so I love that. I love that about Terry's channel. I love his focus on history and trying to get you back to that feeling of youthful innocence. I love that Terry is multi-sport. I love that he collects baseball and football and hockey, even though hockey is not really something I'm particularly interested in. To look at Terry talk about his vintage hockey cards makes me more interested and curious about hockey, especially of that era. I mentioned the magazines and just how cool that can be, a neat compendium to your collection building. And just the way that Terry makes his videos, the thought and care that he puts into writing out what he's going to say, the way in which he says it, the way in which he speaks is it flows so well. You can tell he puts a lot of thought and work into what he does. And then on top of it all, he's just a very nice guy. He's so encouraging in his comments, and you know that he's watching videos and he's commenting, and he posts meaningful comments that aren't just like awesome or good job or thanks, but like actually engaging with what you said or something, and it's just, or what you posted. And anyway, it's just, that's kind of what the hobby on YouTube I feel like should be about. I don't have any comments on this Joe Teasman. I just thought Terry would appreciate this sitting here while I'm talking, so I thought I'd go ahead and mention it. But I did want to say, Terry, I love your videos. I love the thought and care that you put into them, and I wanted to obviously honor that here with this video, but I wanted to go a step further. Some of you may know, if you've watched my channel for a while, going back to when I had first started, I used to do a lot more editing on my videos, and that's trailed off as I've come back on here in the last few weeks. And really part of the issue for me even stepping away from YouTube was it was a little overwhelming for me, frankly. In my professional life, I work as a video editor and video producer. I work with a Christian ministry, and so I edit and work on videos a lot, just as part of my day-to-day job. Now, I do bring those skills in when I want to do something on my own, but it also means that my approach to it tends to get a little over encumbered because I bring that professional side in my thinking to the behind the scenes work of how you edit a video and make it seem to flow properly and all these sorts of things. And you're trimming little different parts of it, and it can take way longer than you do. I mean, some of you know this. That's why you've said, I do not edit my videos. I just post it. And I can certainly appreciate that. So I'm actually trying to take on a little bit of that just for my own sort of mental sanity and my longevity in being able to continue to participate on the YouTube side, because, I like the engagement. I like, even though it's small, even though it's just a handful of us who are watching, or at least a handful of people who are watching my videos and commenting, and I really appreciate when you guys do that. But I wanted to say, the reason I'm even saying that is because I understand what Terry does to put into his videos, but I also want to produce a little video in the style of a TJ Maxx Vintage Cards and Nostalgia, but using some of my own cards and my own thoughts and my own writing. So that's what I want to do. And I'm not sure when I'm going to release it. It may be a week or two yet. But that's something that I wanted to do just because I love how Terry does things, and I really appreciate his approach and his style. And I think he brings a lot to the hobby by his participation in it. So, that's what I have. I've got a Joe Teasman card. I've got some Sports Illustrated here from 1982. I've got a long list of things to praise Terry for over at TJ Maxx Vintage Cards. I assume most of y'all probably have run across his channel, but if you haven't, go over there and follow what he's doing and comment on his videos and engage with him a little bit and just go back down the rabbit hole of some old videos that he's done too, because he's got stuff going back and his stuff feels timeless. Like you watch it and it's not just like, I got this card in today. He's telling you the story of why this card matters. And that's what I think we all are really longing for when it comes to this hobby, and why we got into it, and why we continue to be fascinated by tiny pieces of cardboard with pictures of human beings on them. So anyway, yeah, a couple weeks from now, maybe I will produce out a video that is in the style of TJ Maxx Vintage Cards nostalgia. But for the sake of the video response to the VR, this is it. So go watch Terry's videos. Thank you for watching mine. I hope you enjoyed this. And let's continue to enrich one another through the stories that we tell. Thanks for watching.